I remember those warm evenings when my father took me out for a drive. I'll never forget the smell of the leather interior of his car. My father would let me sit next to him in the front. It made me so proud. We would drive without saying anything, sometimes up to an hour before returning home. I am not sure why all of a sudden I am thinking of my father. My name is Rigoberto and I live in Orlando, Florida, home of Disney World. My wife and I are devout Christians. We were returning home from a missionary trip to Ecuador, waiting at Miami International Airport for our connecting flight, American Airlines 924 to Orlando. I've had some mental problems in the past. My doctor diagnosed me with bipolar disorder and prescribed me with lithium carbonate. Ever since that day, I have taken this medication. However, at the end of our trip to Ecuador, I lost my medication. Waiting at Miami Airport, I started feeling uncomfortable and a little apprehensive about the flight to Orlando. Eventually, my wife and I entered the plane, found our seats, and stored some luggage in the overhead compartments. My wife kept telling me we were soon to be home and sleeping in our own bed. I must have looked tense and scared. Suddenly, I got out of my seat, grabbed my backpack, and ran down the aisle towards the front of the plane. I could hear that my wife was immediately following me. She yelled, "He's sick," several times. I bumped into a female flight attendant as I ran down the aisle. My wife did not see me exit the plane due to the distance between me and her. When she reached the cockpit area, flight attendants were already present and people came out of the cockpit. When she got to the door of the plane, she saw me standing at the far end of the jetway. I was facing two men with their guns drawn at about 20 feet. They kept telling me they were federal air marshals. I motioned for my wife to join me and call her to me. However, as the two men continued to yell and swear at me, I told my wife not to come any closer. According to statements by my witnesses, I made a reference to a bomb I was carrying out in my backpack on my chest. The two air marshals were ordering me to get down. Somehow, I refused. My wife kept repeating that I was sick and in need of help. The two air marshals ordered her off the jetway. She complied and re-entered the aircraft and went to the back of the plane with the intention of gathering her belongings because she knew we were in big trouble. She later stated that she heard gunshots while less than halfway back to her seat. She tried to return to the jetway, but flight attendants and passengers restrained her. The air marshals were shouting, "Get your hands up! Get on the floor! We are police officers!" According to the memo, I must have responded by stating in Spanish that I had a bomb and I would detonate it. Instead of complying to their commands, I must have moved back towards the plane and continued to approach the air marshals. When I had come to within 7 feet of the plane, and when I had put my hand into my backpack, the marshals started discharging their guns. Both the marshals first fired each one shot, after which I kept approaching them, and the marshals continued to discharge their weapons out of concern for the safety of the aircraft and the passengers still on board. Between the two of them, they fired 11 times at me. The medical examiner who performed an autopsy discovered 4 penetrating, 4 perforating, and 3 grazing gunshot wounds, all on my upper torso. After the shooting, one of the marshals entered and secured the aircraft. The other one stayed with my dead body. It is said my wife approached one of the marshals to say she was really sorry.